In theory, this thing has a new feature.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's so cute. It's my birthmark.
Not all tumors are cysts, but all cysts. Wait, I don't know.
What?
Not
all cysts are rectangles.
I think all tumors are cysts.
All right. So what I want to do is several things. We're going to end with a bunch of GitHub playing, but first we're going to talk about Ruby. And I want to show to the class somebody's Ruby work, but I don't want to do it without your permission. So tell me if you're willing to have me use you as a guinea pig to show Ruby and discuss techniques and problems looking at your portfolio. Who's willing? Okay. So what's your name again? What's your directory name, I should say?
David Barsky, yes. David Barsky.
Okay, let's see here. No. Ah, interesting.
You just went past it.
I did?
Well, right above it. There it is. You were just talking.
Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of his examples and discuss what we see. In fact, I'm going to just, instead of that, I'm going to go to my editor. CD, Dropbox, CS166. B. Okay. Very nice. You made a lot of progress. I'm going to just pick one at random. I've looked at some of these, but definitely have not looked at all of them. Okay, this is not too exciting. Anybody see anything they want to discuss here? I mean, it's beautiful and all, but it's not very exciting. Pretty straightforward, right? Let's pick another one. Okay, here's something interesting that you may or may not have seen, but if then else's allow an else if to have a cascading set of ifs. Okay, pretty straightforward. Go on, pick something more difficult. Okay. David, can you explain change.each curly I? Yes, please.
Change.each. So the each is the typical.
Speak up. I don't think people can hear you.
So you want me to explain specifically what?
Yeah. What's that line doing?
Okay. So the change is each dot operates on the. Let me just on the array called change. It's just a bit difficult to see.
Yeah.
And it creates a block within like the two curly quotes.
Yeah.
And it promises in the beginning that there's going to be something like a variable called I.
Yeah.
And from there and as it goes through the whole through the loop,
yeah,
it prints out I got and interpolates the value of I at that point.
Okay. Anybody have a question about this? We talked about this the last time. That's a little more interesting here. So basically here David is defining three separate methods. There's no class yet, right? There are three floating methods like we talked about last time. And by the way, I was thinking as I was looking through some of your work, for my amusement, it's okay if you improvise a little bit. So if the instructions say literally type this string, put a different string in. Show me that you've been there. Not required, but it would be more entertaining if they don't all look exactly the same. So basically he has several methods here, def goal room, def bare room, and then while true. Now interestingly, he did a while true. Why did he do a while true here? And how does that not become an infinite loop? Can anybody see? Yes.
If you put in one of the solutions that has an actual answer,
Yeah.
it'll go to one of the definitions or methods,
Yeah.
either gold room or I guess gold room's the only, or dead.
Uh-huh.
And that will exit out the loop.
Will that exit out of the loop? Let's go look at gold room. Does anybody think that will exit out of the loop? Take a guess. It's okay if you don't know. You think so? All right. And that's because gold room has in it dead, I guess. I don't see it. Oh, there it is, yeah. So a couple of things that are interesting here. One of them is exit 0 tells Ruby, forget everything, exit as a program and return 0 as your result. 0 meaning success. And don't worry, who cares about it being success? But anyway, the other thing that's interesting is as a code reader, my antenna goes up very high and very fast when I see this, right? Why? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying my antenna goes up very fast and very high when I see this. Yes? By the way, remind me of your names. Subu?
It might be an infinite loop.
Yeah, yeah. It's very unusual to see this in actual code because it's definitely might be an infinite loop, and then I'm left guessing what happens. Let's talk about it. I don't think I talked to you guys about this concept of intention revealing names. It's the idea that, and you're just following the instructions here, obviously, but I'm just giving you sort of an insight, which is in a scenario like this, it would really behoove you as a programmer to name the function that gets called in a way that at least gives me a clue that it might exit. So that I'm not left wondering and running around all over the place finding out why this is not an infinite loop.
Can I ask you a question about
Absolutely. Please, thank you.
So in this one, there, in the gold room, there was a section where Shaw said that this line has a bug, so fix it. And we were supposed to find what the bug was.
Yep.
I kind of did a little research and I found out what the bug was, but I'm not sure what he was trying to say.
Now, first of all, since I haven't looked at that recently, what is the line as he wrote it have the bug in it?
Well, but what he wrote, I think this is exactly what he wrote.
Yeah.
The choice includes 0, choice includes 1.
Yeah.
And it said this line has a bug, so fix it.
Yeah.
So do you know, can you guess what?
Can I guess what the bug is? Let's see now. Well, I'll give you my thought process instead. Okay, go ahead.
I think for the bug, I was playing around with it, is that the condition on which it says that you didn't type a number is if the number you typed doesn't include a 1 or a 0.
Yep.
So if you type like a 38, even though that's still a number, it'll reveal dead. Man learned to type a number.
Uh-huh.
So you have to change it so that the if statement is whether or not the user typed an integer or not. So.
Okay. So, and why did he even think that? Because why was that even the first guess for that line? I mean,
Because you can put it in. I thought
so
the
the
same
command
thing.
was 0 or 1, basically. Right.
I thought the same thing, and I did a little research to see how we can, how we can change that line, the conditional one.
Yeah, and how would you change it?
Well, it's like a slash and then like a at thing and then a backslash and then a D plus.
And what is that
$sign.
thing? What is that backslash hat thing?
I don't know, but
Okay,
it's
anybody?
like
I'm sure some of you know. Yes? Oh, good. Yeah, go ahead. Speak up, please.
That's a regular expression.
What is it? Okay, but now you're in trouble because I'm going to ask you what is a regular expression? A regex. Yeah, you know the lingo.
Yeah, I know. I just don't know how to.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
It's like a string matching engine.
It's a string matching kind of language. It's a way to be able to say in a very, very compact way whether a text string matches a certain pattern. Like, does this string look like a phone number? Does this string look like a whatever? So that's one way to figure out if the thing is a number. You do a string matching on it and see whether it contains anything other than numerals. What is the match they hit? %D?
Yeah. Backslash backslash D. And
Backslash-
there was a lot more there.
Well, read
that-
it to me, let's
Okay.
do this, fun.
So.
By the way, okay, so I was listening to a podcast, because yes, I do that all the time on every drive in, and this guy was saying that he was talking about some strange platform, and he said there's certain, like, he said some eternal truths that anybody who wants to be a developer has to know. And one of them was how to write SQL, because no matter what language you're using, what platform you're using, you end up with SQL. And another one was how regular expressions work. So it's a tool that you will find everywhere, and maybe in 50 years they don't use them anymore. But so read it to me. What did it say?
Okay.
Slash? Oops.
Slash hat.
Wait a minute. Wait. I just saw a whole package of nice pieces. I did.
Because it is an integer. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That's a trick. It's a trick. It's a trick. Bear with me. Okay. Actually, let me do it over here. Maybe we can get on the camera. Go ahead. Slash.
Slash hat backslash D plus dollar slash.
Okay. Anybody want to parse that, or shall I do it? Yes.
Well, I think the hat means the digit has to start at the beginning of the string.
Right. Exactly. So this is a placeholder for the beginning of the string. Yep. Go on.
And the dollar sign, I think, is at the end, and that has to end as a digit too, as an
Right.
integer.
That's beginning of string. End of string. Okay. And what else? Yes.
The plus, I think, is one or more.
Exactly. One or more. Okay. And
Backslash D is integer.
I'm sorry, I pointed, I should say. And backslash D is integer. Not integer, digit. Digit. So this is a little language, and it gets executed by a little finite state machine that says, okay, here's a string, x 121, and it says, okay, beginning of string, check. Next thing should be a digit, not false, fails. Okay, put in 0. Beginning of string, check. Next thing should be a digit, check. Did we get one or more digits? We got 1, check. Are we now at the end of the string? Yes, correct. Okay? So you can see that the finite state machine kind of gets executed. This is a very simple one, and there's a lot of different other things you could do. For example, you could say, okay, here, I'll do here. Oh, one more thing. In Ruby, and this is a Ruby specific thing, they're delimited by slashes. So whenever you see those two slashes, forward slash, it means there's regex in there. Remember I talked, I think I talked to you guys about the idea of a literal string, a literal for a number, a literal for a string is quotes, a literal for a symbol is colon followed by a word, and the literal for a regex is forward slash blah 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 forward slash. So if instead of this I had said up arrow backslash D star dollar sign, that would mean 0 or more. So this would match, would say that a string with nothing in it would be correct. If I said backslash D plus I don't know, A, close quote, rather this, no, dollar sign, then it would be only strings that look like this. 1, 2, 3, A. That's all that would match. This, by the way, will not match. You should try this. Space, 1, 2, 3, space. Right? Yes?
I have a question, because in my code, I just use the backslash D instead of putting in the plus dollar sign and the caret, the
Yeah,
hat.
yeah.
And it seems to work perfectly, so I was wondering if Ruby just interprets like the backslash D as having any of those with
No,
it.
but that's a really interesting point you're raising. Actually, what happened in your case, so you did slash caret is what I call it, not hat, but anyway, caret, backslash D, and then slash, like that.
I do not the caret, it's just backslash D.
Okay, backslash D, okay.
Yeah.
So this is cool because if you type 1, 2, 3, yours will match 1, 2, 3, A. Try it.
It'll work. There's no
Because it says, I found one, boom, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can put 1, 2, 3, A and it'll match it.
Is A 1, 2, 3, A gonna work too? Because it doesn't say in the beginning.
Yeah, it will also say A, 1, 2, 3, A, yeah.
But it will take out the 1, 2, 3. It'll perceive.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3.
it'll perceive 1, actually, not 1, 2, 3. It'll just perceive 1. Because there's no plus here.
I tried that. 35 worked.
Yeah, 35 would work, of
Because
course.
it takes
It doesn't care, it throws the rest out.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically it says, here's a string with 1,000,000 characters. Can you find this in there anywhere? And it said, yeah, I found a number. I'm happy. Okay? Yes?
This might be a weird thing, but.
By the way, I love it when you guys ask questions.
Can you just check the class of the variable?
The class of what variable?
The choice or whatever, the thing that they enter and see if it's.
What do you think it would be?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Never mind.
What were you first thinking?
Well, I thought it could like type to an int or something like that.
Oh no, because it's always string object.
Okay, yeah.
And by the way, for future reference, whenever you get anything over the network, HTTP, whatever it is, it's going to be a string. So you always have to do 2i, yes.
Well, actually, you can just enforce it to input a string, an integer.
How would you do that?
Integer, there's a method for an integer, just integer, then parenthesis, then gets. And if it's not an integer, you can rescue and you can put a string in it. You can
Integer,
say,
wait, slow down. I want to write this down. So you're saying I could write instead, because these guys will check you right now. You
big letter I,
Integer?
yeah, integer. Then parenthesis,
Yeah.
gets.
Yep.
Then whatever you put in, it's going to be an integer.
Okay, so who can guess what this does? How does this work? What kind of error do you get when you don't put an integer?
Well, you have to specify. You can put a rescue after it.
Yeah,
Like,
but if you don't put a rescue.
Well, I didn't try that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a nil.
Yeah, so what's going on here is this is a very unusual method in Ruby because it's a method that starts with a capital letter. So really it's saying construct a new integer from this string. And this string, if it doesn't have an integer in it, will throw an error, probably can't convert from string
It
to
says
int.
invalid value for integer and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's legitimate. It's a legitimate way to do it. Okay? Very good. Excellent. Yes, sir.
Can you put the regular expression inside the argument for include? Is that how you do it? Like include question mark, then the regular expression.
No, it's a little bit different, I think. It's probably not match or something. What is it?
I'm sorry, what?
Here, what would you put here?
It's choice and then the equals with a tilde.
Oh, that's another way, yeah. So
And
it's
then
choice.
It's like a right X.
So that's choice equal, is it equal?
It's equals with a tilde afterwards. Yeah.
And then slash this stuff.
This
The-
And no quotes?
What does
No.
what does tilde do?
The tilde specifically does, it expects the thing to the right of the equal tilde to be a regular expression.
Right.
And it says return true if this thing matches the string and false if not. Okay? Excellent. Is the text big enough or by the way, I've asked for new outlets to be brought in here. I don't know if anything's happened yet. They gave me a whole song and dance. They're going to form a study committee. Because you know the wires are long, the students like trip over them. I said you got to see this room. Wires all over the place already. So anyway, okay, let's go on. Thank you, by the way, for letting us use your code as a example.
My movie code is, I'm very proud of that.
Okay, well, sorry, I'm going to help. I'm going to make you famous then. Let's go to the movie code. Sorry that it took so long. Perl?
No.
Say what?
It's the third one. Movie data.rb.
Yeah, I know, but I was intrigued with .pl. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's read this together. Oh, I know. We'll be like in church. We'll read together. Who wants to read and explain the initialize method? I'm going to call on somebody. I'm going to call on you. Please read and explain the initialize method.
Do we start from line 5?
Line 5. No, start. Okay, start from line 5. Okay, good. Do line 5 and 6.
It's initializing the accessor, so you can access popularity list from just access that.
What does that mean to access it?
Like to read it or to write it.
Yep.
Then
And-
you it's doing the same for movie data.
Yeah, I think you can put them both together with a comma. I'm not positive, but I'm almost positive. So you could say movie data. Okay, cool. And now I might as well go on to line 8.
The initialize method is initializing a new array.
Mm-hmm.
This is empty.
Yep.
And then initialize a empty hash structure for popularity list.
Yep. And excellent.
And then
when does that get called? When does initialize get called, or who calls it?
not sure.
Okay, anybody?
What will you create?
Who calls it? Who calls initialize?
I did not find it.
This one. Who calls this function? When does it get called? Nope. Yes. I'm trying to spread out the fun. That's all.
It's called when an instance of movie data is called or created.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So whenever you do moviedata.new, this method gets called. And obviously it initializes things. These two lines could have been written, and this is perfectly correct, but you could have written at moviedata. Help me at moviedata equals. Okay, and you could have done the other one equals. So that's the same. The difference here is that you can put some more parameters here, which he's not doing. Like you can say, for example, the initial size should be this, or it should be all initialized with this value, and so on. Okay? Somebody wants to read def load data. Yes. Please read load data and tell us what it does.
So we have
Yeah. He's doing something tricky. He's using something you haven't seen before, CSV dot.
Yeah.
But take a guess at what that means.
That's probably the data file.
No, whenever you see capital letter dot, it means that that's a class, and that method is what they call a class method, i.e. a method that exists only against the class itself, not against an instance. Okay, which is an unusual thing. I don't think you've seen it before, but it's a very common thing. So let me explain. Sorry to interrupt. So if I write, maybe I will actually go in here. That way it will be recorded. Save it as test.rb to my desktop. No, don't replace it. Save. Okay, fine. If I write class, my class, def initialize, no, forget that. Def greet, put as hello class, end. And I can't, if I say my class dot greet, what do you think will happen? Anybody? Call it out. Sorry? Say it loud enough so I can hear it. Mumble. Don't mumble. What did you say? Huh? Yeah, that's it. What do you think will happen? Who thinks it'll get an error? Why?
Because you haven't initialized any instance.
Okay, well what if I say this then? C equals my class dot new. Now.
Still you have to call it on C instead of my.
So this by itself will give an error.
Yep.
Okay, exactly. So but it's not incorrect because what I'm doing here is I'm saying, are there any methods that are defined at the class level? So one for all the instances. And there aren't any, so it's going to give an error. It says, I don't know, there's no class method called greet. So if I run this, it's going to say, undefined method greet for my class. See that? So you can actually do this. Def self.greet, put as I am a class method. And now I run it, and it works because there's a class method called greet. There's also a regular method called greet. So if I do that, I first get I am a class method, which is this one, self.greet, and then I get greet. Yes?
But class methods aren't able to change the state of any sort of
They can't change the state of an instance, but they can change the state of a class instance variable, which is very odd. Yes?
I'm trying to understand it. I'm still shaking.
That's good. Please, I'm sure half the class is shaking, so go.
So when you put myClass.greet down there at line 13, does that automatically mean that the self.greet is kind of like a static method?
Yeah, it is kind of like a static method, although in Ruby we call them class methods.
Okay.
It's a static. I think in Java that's a static method. It's a method associated with the class definition.
It doesn't change based on the instances.
Right. But something? No? Anybody? Yeah.
So if self.greet changes like an integer, so you call c.greet,
Yeah.
and then myClass.greet, and greet changes like an integer.
Yeah.
And when you call back c.greet, will the integer be?
Yeah, but it gets really fishy, okay?
really
Because
fishy, 'cause
I'm gonna show. I'm not even gonna show you because it's too confusing. I'm gonna say here instead. I'm gonna give this a parameter, save, and I'm gonna go here at save equals save. That's wrong because I have to put greet 1000. And now I'm going to put here hello class found self dot save. No, that's wrong. I'm not sure how you
Double add, right?
say what?
Double add save to make
Oh
it-
yeah, wait, I forgot. Did I forget something?
What's save?
At save here.
Don't you have to make it like a class variable?
Yeah.
Add save?
No, that's what I don't want to use. This won't work. No. This should work as far as I can think. Or maybe I have to say this the usual thing, add reader. Let me do this. Def self dot save returns at save. And then here, now it'll work, I think. Line 13.
Do you have to make the attribute accessor?
Well, that's what this was supposed to be doing. Maybe save is a reserved word. Get save. I don't think so, though. I'm going to get off this tangent in a second.
What up without self? Just get save?
No, I think that's going to say undefined. Yeah. I got to tell it that. No. Oh! I know what it is. My class dot save. Nope, still doesn't want it.
Well, it's self.
Get save.
It's get save now.
Oh, it's get save. Oh gosh. Oh, that was the problem all along, maybe. Boom. Okay, so let me explain now. I'm just curious if I take this, put this back to self. No. Okay, so let me explain now what's going on, because it's a little bit confusing. I'm going to draw a picture. Because what they say is a picture's worth a lot of words. All right. So I'm going to go over. Got to remember what pen works and not keep doing this to myself. So I have a class called myClass, and it defines two class methods. It defines greet, and it defines get save. These are, let me make the box bigger. These are class methods, and I define instance methods called greet. The way I know these are class methods, let me do it this way. The way I know these are class methods is when I define them, I said self and self. Okay? Now I say myClass.new, and it creates an instance of the myClass class called, well, I give it a name, I call it C. So C is an instance of myClass. Okay? Maybe the arrow should point the other way. So this is an object by itself, and it has access to the greet method. So if in this code I write greet, in the code I write greet, it'll know to call this greet method. So now I call my class.greet1000, that code up there. Okay? So that's this method is called, and this method sets an instance variable which is part of, so this has its instance variable here, and here it has class instance variable. It sets the value of class instance variable at save, and then I call c.greet, which is this one, and because I use string interpolation and I call getSave, this method, so if you look at the greet method, so I'm call greet. Greet then calls, this is essentially c.greet is called, calls my class.c.greet. Sorry, .getSave. And then returns the string. Okay? And as a result of that, @save has been set. So we have two separate things. If I did another myClass.new, I would get another instance of it over here, D, with its own instance variables, which are separate. And in this case, there are actually none, but if I gave it one, so if I gave it, when I call greet, let's say I said add a reader here, or accessor, new day, I could say here c.newDay equals yes, and then I could go down here and say D equals my class dot new, and I could say c.newDay here, vary. Okay, and so what I have here is now that every instance of my class has a variable called @newDay. And this one has one too, different one. These are different, but there's only a single copy of @save.
Per instance or just
Ever. Because it's a class instance variable. How do I know it's a class instance variable? Because it was defined inside of a class method. And the class method can run even if there are no instances at all. It was defined here. That's a class method, self-dot. Yes?
So after C sets save, if D was to print save, will it print 1000 again?
Yes. Yes. In fact, well, C is not setting save. Remember, it's being set by greet. Exactly. So I'd have to call greet. For example, we could say here. I won't go further because I think I'll leave it at this. I'll have this file if anybody wants to play with it. Any questions? So let me recap the terminology. Classes define basically a framework, and whenever you do new, you get new instances of the class or objects. Instances of a class have access to all the methods defined in the class. In addition, a class can also define class methods. These are invoked by combining the name of the class dot the method. All right? They exist only in one copy within the class definition. Self dot is used inside the class definition to define these class methods. Okay? So it's a real parallel structure. You have classes and instances. They both can have methods. They both can have instance variables. If they're within instances, there's a copy of them each time there's an instance. If they're within the class, there's one copy. Yeah.
So can we write another self method that changes save?
Yes.
In the class?
Absolutely. Yes.
And we call that like self.setSave.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I won't do that though, because I want to get back to the fun. Okay. So I'm going to take over on this particular one because it's got a lot of stuff that you don't know yet. But basically, what we've got here, let me just make this smaller, is for each. Now we know for each is a class method on the class called CSV. CSV are text strings that you know well, text files that you know well, that use quoted strings separated by commas, quote A, quote B, quote C, quote D, optionally with a header row. And you see them when you export from Excel, you see them all over the place. It's a very common format. And basically, he has figured out that you can give it the name of the file, and then a parameter that says the column separators are tabs, not commas. And then this method is calling once for every row in the file. And the cool thing is that the row in the file, this thing here, remember this is a block. Remember blocks? This is for each, which means that this for each guy is promising to call whatever's inside do n once for every row in the file. Moreover, it's promising that it will have parsed that line and chopped it up into columns and put each column in a different position in the variable called row. Okay? So essentially, for each calls this block. The first time row is set automatically to an array with as many slots as there are columns, with each slot having the value that was in that column for that row. Okay? And then what he's doing is he's creating a hash from that, and he's saving it inside the movie data array. Push, by the way, when applied to an array, simply means append to the end. Or is it beginning? Append to one of the two sides. Because it depends how popular the font is, which I don't remember. Okay? See, yes?
Wait, we don't have to declare row as an array because it does it dynamically.
Right. Row is being, so in general, by the way, yesterday I showed you, the other day I showed you the curly brackets for a block. When the block goes on a little long, you have an alternative syntax which is do end, but it's the same thing. And so the block is always invoked by whoever is invoking it, having set up these variables with some known value, and the known value is in the spec for this method. In this case, the known value is an array initialized with the values found in the columns of that row in that file. Okay? All right. Who wants to recite popularity and explain what it does?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you go over how the hashing is going exactly?
Up here?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what comes out of that, that's a good question. I can't believe I'm doing this.
You just toss them on the floor.
Good idea. Okay, that's good. Okay, so basically, I can tell from this that he's creating a hash, and the hash, it's calling an initializer or a constructor for hash, so it's creating a new hash with alternating keys, values, key, value, key, value. Okay? So what that hash is going to look like, if you look at it, it's going to be like this. Quote, user ID,
And then he erased them.
arrow, 41, comma, quote, movie, ID, arrow, 70, comma,
It's just a different
quote.
syntax for it.
Pardon?
It's just a different syntax for initializing a hash.
Well, it's more, yeah, you couldn't do this programmatically. Well, you probably could. Let me think. Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, it would have been the same. 700. I do want to point out something that's a little bit interesting. Would it have been different or the same if I said this? This is a very common thing to stumble on. Would that have been the same or different if I did this? 41, comma, and so the same. Yes?
No, I think it's different.
Okay, what are the two cases, please?
The first line is ID is a string.
Yep.
And the second line is a symbol.
Exactly, yes. And in both cases, they're serving the purpose of the key for that entry. Key value, this is the key. But if I try to access this hash, which you will do because it's an easy mistake to make, like this. So this is, let's call this hash A, whatever it was. A. And I would expect it to produce 41. Instead, it was going to produce nil. And you're going to pull your hair out if you have it. It's going to pull out because it's going to say, I don't have any key called user ID. Nil. Boom. Okay. Big easy bug to have. Yes.
So how do you? I don't know. What are you suggesting?
What I'm suggesting is to pay good attention to what the keys are by doing a put s, or if you created them, number one. And number two, if you ever get nil when you expect a value, your antenna should go up. I wonder what's going on. It turns out actually that there is a method called hash.fetch, which if you do :A, it's going to actually give you an error saying no such key. But the bracket notation actually will just return nil. Easy mistake to make. Okay? Who was reading? Oh yeah. So I was looking for somebody to recite line 20. Who wants to volunteer? Who hasn't spoken yet? Who wants to volunteer? Have you spoken yet? Okay. Will you volunteer?
Take the movie.
Could you please speak a little louder?
So
Because the other guys aren't even listening.
the movie data is an array, right? And it takes, so it goes through each element of it.
Yeah.
And calls it a row. And then it is initialized movie count as 0. So every time in that elements like movie ID, which is row 1, so the second column, matches the ID, like media of interest parameter that is put in, then it increases the movie count and returns it.
Exactly. So in the end, the movie count is going to correspond to the number of instances within the movie, the movie data array that has the movie of interest. And of course, this line by itself says return movie count. I'm going to bet, not a lot of money, that the first time through you forgot to put 2i here. Pardon?
First time I did forget to do that.
Yeah, very classic mistake to make. The stuff coming in from a file is going to be strings. So at this point, it's just bringing in strings. It's all strings, and this is going to be a string. Okay? It's a mistake that's super easy to make. All right, let's go on to another one and see how we're doing on time. We're doing okay. Popularity list. Okay, this is interesting. Who wants to recite this one? Let's see. Have I called on you already? No. Are you willing to recite that one, please? Line 30. Do the best you can, because there's some stuff in here you haven't seen.
Go to the array movie data, and for each line, x equal to the select the row.
Anybody want to help? Okay. Nobody want to help? Josh, you want to help?
Where did you stop?
Pardon?
I mean,
Why don't you start at the top again, right? Line
All right.
32.
so it looks like it goes from, I guess, the
just got a loop that goes from the first index or the first mix of movie data to the last one.
Yep.
Each one doing assigning to variable x
Of? Yeah, what's being assigned to variable x?
Reading what's that movie data at? The index he's currently at, I guess. From the row movie ID, I guess.
This is pretty hard. This is pretty hard.
Is that wrong?
It's incomplete. You're missing a bunch of words. If you got the right words there, you have to just add more words.
So,
because first of all, let's analyze this from a high level. Okay, there's a loop here, and there's a
oh wait, I think I
kind of a loop here.
Yeah, I think I see actually. So I think it's.
So what do you think this line does? Just take this line. So we have an I that was assigned by the loop.
Everything at I, everything in that row movie ID.
Yeah.
Goes into X. So X is.
No.
No. Okay.
It's a trick. This is pretty cool, Ruby, if I say so myself. Go ahead.
I think he's creating an array out of X. X is going to be an array that's set to movie data at index I from the tap out.
Okay, tap out. Okay, let me try. So first of all, dot select. So dot select. So at movie data bracket I resolves to what? Is the first question I have. So we go back up here, or you tell me. What is at movie data sub I?
Is it a hash movie data?
But that's what I was
or
going to
array?
go check.
As an array.
So at movie data is an array. So at that position, there is a row hash. So every slot is a row hash. And so what he's doing here is select. Because selecting is like a search. I mean, okay, why don't you explain this? Because I'm not. What does select do against the hash?
It pulls out. It pulls out from the arrays. Selects at a specific point, pulls that out, and assigns it to a variable.
But at movie data bracket I already resolves to a hash for that movie.
Then I don't remember what I said when I wrote that.
Does it work?
It works. It's just bad code.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's not bad code. It's interesting code. I'm going to read this and explain what I think it is. For me, I always thought select worked on an array to do a search. Yes?
So I looked it up on Ruby's documentation.
Yep.
And so it returns a new array containing all the elements from the original array, of which the block returns true.
Yes,
so
but
yeah,
except that the parameter that select is being called against a hash, because select movie data bracket I is a hash.
So wouldn't it return? It would search for the value at the hash.
I think it compiles a bunch of hashes. X is an array of a bunch of hashes that that are related to that.
So what he's saying is from that array select.
But it's I. It's picking out the I
but
entry.
his array is an array of hashes.
Yes.
So each position is like a hash.
Is a hash. Right.
So at that position, select the elements that correspond to movie ID, or something like that.
Yeah.
In that row, which you look through all the rows and search for what corresponds to that movie ID, and then
get
set
that
to
balance.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's getting unproductive. I think we should all, in our own time, go in the debugger and make sure we understand. Because it's a little tricky. Select, dot select. So, let me just show you. Oh, actually, let's do an experiment. Why not? Let's do an experiment. Oh, stay here. Go to our. Where was I? There we go. Okay, test RB. So I'm going to go down here just so if anybody wants this, I have it. And I'm going to say, first of all, A equals 1, 2, 100, 3, 4, 5. So forget the equal sign. Don't forget the equal sign. Okay, and I'm going to say A dot select x equals 100. And
Puts a select.
puts. And it says, oh, okay, I found something called 100. But let me just do this. Found 100 twice. In fact, if I say, instead of this, I'll say s equals, and I say puts s dot class, we see it's an array. So basically what it's done is it's returned all the entries in this array which match that number 100. So it's like a find. But now let's do the same thing for the example that I think he has, which is where A is not an array, but it's a hash. A colon 100, oops, colon 100, B colon 100, C colon 90. Oh, interesting, it's returned, so let's see what S is. Empty. So it's saying I can't find any, so I'm interpreting this. Yes, go ahead.
Well, maybe you're searching by key.
Exactly. Okay, so now I'm going to do this. Colon A. Yes. So select in a hash says, let's pretend that there were 100 keys in this, because it can have 100 keys. Is there any key called colon A? Okay. Now here's a funny thing. I'm going to bring together two different things. I'm going to, again, go without a net. Yeah, let me go like this. Remember, strings can be the keys as well, right?
Why do you lose the colon?
Because I'm going to the notation that uses arrows, and so basically this is the example that he has in his code. String is the key, 100 is the value. So if I run this, say that again. If I run this, there's no key equal to symbol A. Yes? Everybody good? If I do this, yes. But here's how I want to put them together. Ta-da! Slash A star slash. Did not work. Oh, because I have to add dollar, up arrow, caret. Nope.
What's star?
0 or more. I got to be 1 or more. Boom. Who can interpret this? Somebody who hasn't spoken yet. Who has? You've not spoken yet?
I mean, I've spoken. I haven't.
You're always the first one? No. Who hasn't spoken yet? Have you spoken? You've spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has nobody not spoken? That's excellent. Wait, or some people aren't admitting it because they wouldn't catch it. That's it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hi, have you spoken yet?
No.
She's going like. Can you read it? Can you read it? See if you can interpret this. And it's okay if you can't, because I'm mixing together several things.
That equals squiggly line means that it's like a regular expression.
Exactly, yeah.
And so what that's saying is it's saying so the caret is the beginning of the string is A, and then we're saying that the plus sign is 1 or more.
Yeah, 1 or more letter A.
Letter A.
So it's strings that begin with A.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
And so it's going to return the ABX's 100 and ABCs.
So, but going a little bit slower, A.select says A is a hash. So we're looking at a different select. I mean, the only way you can know the meaning of this is by knowing the class of that. And the class of that is hash. In a hash, the select statement says, return me all entries whose keys, return me all entries and perform this operation on it. This operation, if it returns true, it pulls out that entry, and if it returns false, it does not pull out that entry. Okay? So basically it's going through each entry, it's saying, this returns false, ditch it. This returns true, because the key matches this string, keep it. True, keep it. Got it? Yes?
But with this, you lose the performance, the constant complexity performance of the hash table, right? Because it's iterating through all the
Right, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's in the nature of the question I'm asking. I don't think there's a way you could avoid that.
Right.
Okay, yes.
So that also returns an array then?
It returns a hash. It returns a hash. That's an interesting point. Yeah, it basically returns a subset of this hash, including only the keys that return true for that expression. Okay? All right, good. Let's change modes. We're gonna yes.
If you use, I think it's open bucket hashing, you'd maintain some semblance of that performance.
It's all yeah, maybe. First of all, I don't know if Ruby does. And secondly, it all depends on how this thing is implemented. But you're right. Okay, we're going to switch to GitHub in the remaining 20 minutes. So hopefully by now, you all, as they say, if anybody wants this file, let me know and I will email it to you. It's not that exciting, but you know, who knows. Come on, there we go. Close this. Clean up my world a little bit here. Okay. So, everybody who has given me your GitHub ID, go to a shell. Well, first of all, locate this file, my play project. Everybody locate this file. I'll do it too. So in Ruby, in GitHub, you will see this. Okay, there's my play project. It has one file in it called README. Everybody goes down here, and if you read the fine print, because everything I write is important, or I shouldn't say that, I take care to write the right thing. Locate the HTTPS clone URL, not the SSH clone URL. Change it to pick the HTTPS clone URL, like so, and then copy this by hitting this button here. And then go to your shell. Everybody do this, please. And clone it to your computer. The effect that this will have is it's going to make a copy of this repo with all its commits on your computer. Okay, put your hand up if you want to stop and go back. Now go change directory CD to the directory that was just created, because clone always creates a new directory wherever you are. CD into it. So now you're looking at the file. If you do an ls in there, you should see one file. What file do you see in there?
README.
README, yeah, because now you have a copy of it. All right. Do a git status to see what the status is of the clone. Tell me what it says.
Up to date.
What does it say?
Up to date.
Up to date? Everybody up to date? Okay. Now, crank up your text editor and create a file, call it whatever you want, and save it into that directory. Okay? Do a git status and tell me what you see. Help your neighbor if your neighbor is lost. Ask your neighbor for help if you're lost.
Git clone and then paste the URL.
It's not like
Do you have okay, so git space clone and then paste the URL.
Okay, who can tell me what they see? What do you see? Uncheck file. Okay, so what does that mean, unchecked file? What it means is that but it's okay, keep talking. We'll help each other. I'll wait a little bit. Yes? Create a file, save it, give it whatever name you want, and do a git status, and it'll tell you that that file is in your directory, but Git doesn't know anything about it yet. So you need to instruct Git to put this on what I call the silver platter, or to stage it, to put it on the stage, which means now you got to pay attention to this file. The way you do that is you do a git add whatever the file is you created. Okay? Now do a git status, tell me what you see. Yes. So that it's telling you there that it now knows the file, but it's not part of any commit. Okay, I know it, but you haven't told me yet to bundle it up because you may be working on other files or whatever. Okay? So do git space commit by -m and put your name, quote, your name space file. So Ito's file as the message, -m. So the state of the world that we're in now.
Are we committing it and just
Just commit with the message, your name file, Ito's file. So the server has my play project, and it has, I think, maybe 3 commits because I did that while I was playing around. Okay, and then you have your computer, and you have the same 3 because you got them when you cloned, but you now have 4. Ito's commit. And of course, all your friends, all your classmates, have the same thing. Oh wait, missing one. Except it's their file, Joe's file. Commit. Okay? So now we have a bunch of computers here that all have the same 3 files, 3 commits, which came from the server, plus 1 more of theirs. Okay. Now, it's a race. Okay, do a git status. It should be ready to go. Everybody should say nothing to commit. Yes?
Kind of a weird
error?
Yeah, I don't know if it's an error, but when I tried to do everything, I guess I committed this.
Oh, because you didn't do that.
Save it to close. Oh, you don't know. You have to close.
Okay. You haven't pushed it yet. I don't know that time. Okay, now everybody do git push. Everybody do git push. One will work, the rest will get errors. Who got it first?
You don't actually after you submit, you have to write the comments. Yeah.
Okay, so
which handle?
Ask about important question. He's asking, is the git that he has on his computer?
Is it access to your?
No, it's your copy of mine.
Okay.
So look at the picture. This is the server, and this is yours. They're totally separate until you do a git push. They're copies of each other.
Right.
In fact, these 3 are the same, but this one stops here and this one goes on. And his goes on, but with a different one. Okay? So whose git push worked? Nobody?
Double dash alt.
Well, let me just check. I can check by going to git.
Username for GitHub.
Double dash
Up now.
So this is
And I can look at, I can refresh. Yeah, none worked. So what errors are you getting?
Which
permission didn't write.
I got it for
editor.
Pardon?
This is your text editor.
I need to know configured.
Terminal inside.
Oh, okay. Now wait, you guys that are getting errors, did you give me your names for the list?
Yeah.
And you're getting a 403?
How do you access this editor?
It was in an email that I sent marked alert yesterday. And when I mark them alert, it's really important that you be alert. Okay, and let me just try that. Maybe what I have to do, that's fine.
He's asking for a username.
That's fine. You got to log into GitHub.
Oh, sure.
This is your committing.
My username can go to my GitHub.
Right, because it's
Try it now. Those of you that got errors.
Just a minute. Try this. Oh, wait.
So how do you?
Same thing.
Even though you're definitely on the list.
I'm good now.
You're good now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show you the list of people, and you can tell me if your name's not on it, okay?
For adder, you can change.
I'm going to go here, and I'm going to look at the students. There's only 12 people on it. I mean, come on.
Well, if you do get commit.
Okay.
Accept email or something?
Just give me your Git name.
Oh, okay. So I use.
Give me your Git name. Yes.
That's DXWA.
DXWA. This one? Okay. Oh, you know what? I gave you guys. No, everybody. Okay, so you got an email now. Who else is not on the list? Give me your name.
OCOURCH.
OCOURCH.
You did that.
OU.
It's no, it's OC.
OC.
OU.
OU.
RCH.
Okay, you got an invitation. Who else needs an invitation? Yes, name.
This will
Steve
pop up.
Kaplan 123.
This is my idea.
Steve.
But this is my not my terminal. Okay, so
Kaplan.
I don't know how to use this terminal in the.
There you go. Okay, you got an invite. Yes. Huh?
Whatever here.
TECK.
TE. Yeah, I got it. Oh, no H. Yeah.
No, you have the H. You just have to put a T before the E. Backspace
You know
to
what?
and add a T.
Forget about this.
Oh, gosh. That's you.
Yep.
So, by the way, let's pop into the game of this class. The game of this class is I will send you emails that alert, and I mean that you read them and do them, because otherwise I won't say a word. Okay? Yes?
Add a dash M and then
I just need an invitation.
Just check again.
double quote. Whatever.
You good?
No.
Okay, give me your name.
So it's TIFFWCHEN.
There you go. Okay, next one. Do you have an invitation? Yes.
EDTURC.
This one? Okay, yes.
JIL.
JIL?
JIN. JINFENG.
Oh, J-I, like that? Where?
N.
The E beside the E.
Give it to me again, so slow. J,
I,
just
one character.
One letter, N.
One line.
Oh, N, I'm sorry.
FENG.
That you?
No,
F-E-N-G.
AOING.
What's that?
Space. AOING.
A
L.
A
L.
L
ING. AOIN. No G. Oh no. Yeah. LIN.
L-I-N. There's something wrong here. Did you get a username in GitHub?
Yes.
And it's your username is that with a space in it?
No.
Where's it written? I'm looking for it. J-I-N-F-E-N-G. There's no F here. J-I-N-F-E. Wait, let me look at it. J-I-F-E-N-G. L-I-N. No space. Okay, no space. That must be you. Okay.
I still haven't gotten the invitation.
Why don't you? I think that if you just go to the thing that I was told. Oh, it seems like you're in. Wait.
Can I
Yes.
just type my name because it's kind of long.
Okay, sure.
Just make it better on. There I am.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't see my name on there.
That's funny. I saw it before, but now it's not there. So what is it again? D.
DXWAN.
Yeah, it's already
No,
sent.
no. There's no G. There's no.
Oh, got it. Canceled. Ah! Okay. D-I-F. No, D-I.
DXWAN. That's it. No,
There,
no
that's
letters.
it. No, not that.
Not that.
And stop.
Yes, there we go.
This one.
Yes.
Gotcha. You're a student. Yes.
I don't say mine.
Yes, please.
Ralph.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Ralph.
X-I.
Say what?
X-I-A-O. Yeah, that's
you. Okay. Yes.
WAMM.
See how much easier it would have been if you guys had done this yesterday?
done it.
Oh, okay. I take it back. I take it back. AD?
K.
I don't think you're the right one.
That's it? Okay. All right, next.
CANN.
CANN.
AHU. I got this weird message.
That's you? You already have an invitation. SHUC.
I can't also KU.
AU? KU. You got an invitation already? Okay, yes, last one.
SU.
SU.
GE.
V.
Oh, you on the GitHub?
Wait, I don't think so.
That you?
I don't receive any notification. Do you see your name?
Okay. Sorry, what? T. D. Fifth.
It'll walk you.
D. Fifth.
Okay.
Already have the invitation. S. SB. AS. That's you? Oh, MI. And Y. That's you? Okay. Meanwhile, look what's going on here. Woohoo! These guys have also succeeded in pushing their changes up to the web. Everybody else, push your changes. Yes. Hang on.
Why is
Hey, one thing at a time. Students. W. WANGY. YH. No. 1A. 1Y.
Yeah, the last second.
This one? This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else?
VSUS.
VSUS.
AYA.
How's that? You already have an invitation.
Failed to put some reps.
Yes.
YOS.
YOS. G. EPH. KA. That's you. You already member. Okay, so you guys all should be pushing up files now.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why is Artem's file it says Ginseng?
Here?
Yeah. So my file, more up. The second one after readme.
Yeah. Oh.
Why is that said?
That's a very good question.
So how do I?
I don't know.
I did not charge it.
Refresh the page.
Yeah, it says it on mine too.
How fascinating.
But it says I did on my activity profile. It says I pushed.
But you didn't give that as a message. Well, let's look at the commits.
No, I did message.
Okay, look. So here, this list here is this list here. Okay. So it started. It started way back here. Last night, I did this one. I did this one. I did this one. Oscar was the first in. Then Jin Feng, and so on. And then, eventually we get to this one. And does anybody mess around with your push, I wonder? I bet somebody messed around with your push. I bet if we look at your file, at your file's history.
Nope.
Nope. Interesting. I can't explain. I have to go research on that.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting here. Yeah.
Can I add a message now to my push, or do I have to recreate it?
There's an arcane command to edit it, but you could just change that file a little bit, and then push it again, because that creates a new commit. Okay, so these commits are inviolate. Once they are created, they never are changed. The only way of file change is by adding more and more commits. So I can go back in time by saying I want this commit instead, and everything will be reset to that point in time. Okay, keep editing your files, but now start editing your friends' files, and push them and see what happens.
So you have to respond.
Tell me what happened. Find somebody else's file and edit it.
Are we late on?
Fetch clone. It's probably just like every time you pull something.
Fetch 跟 pull 区别就是 pull 会有一个 merge， fetch 是没有 merge。
fetch 是我把旧的文件留下，新的文件搬了。
都在。
它还会重新。
不会，它会有一个 conflict。
怎么告诉你？
它会 report 一个 conflict， 不能那个 fetch。
pull 的话
fetch 应该是可以 pull 不可以。fetch 它直接是把那个 pull 下来。
我 pull 下来之后，它告诉我这个。
It commits your puts your work into the process.
这个 OK 那我应该做。
现在应该是
So people want to he could go to my file right now.
对啊，我这是我文本，我准备我把 Vim 取消了。不是，我现在就是这个文本里我需要改。
So let me just quickly look at the work for next class, which is Tuesday, day after the holiday. And here, this is important. I didn't get to the discussion about the product, but that's fine. This is very, very useful. You're going to use Git a lot, and so the more you get it in your head about how it works, the happier you will be. So this is important. Meet outside of class for 1 hour with 3 random other students to go over the product. I've got like 3 or 4 new product ideas from students. There's some really cool things in there. So we have like 14 now, and the door is closed. So everybody's going to work on one of those 14. Okay? Look at them, discuss them. Remember, as I told you the other day, in 2 months, you're going to go, oh, I wish I took more time to decide what product I wanted. I've been stuck with this stupid thing for the last 2 months. So don't make that happen. Pick something that really is appealing to you, discuss it, and start aligning yourselves around what products you like. Okay? That's the first thing. Continue with Movie the Hard Way. You should be almost up to lesson 45. Keep working in your portfolio. And then, this is a lot, but it's a long weekend. You have a complete, you have to complete this in your portfolio. Remember, your portfolios will be reviewed and graded today. Okay? Now, grading a portfolio is not like a grade, like it's incorrect. It is really to show that you are keeping up with the homework, that you're doing a reasonable job. We're not so worried right now about, correctness on the Ruby the Hard Way. I just want to know you're doing the work and you're getting past the roadblocks that you were hit. Remember, we have 3 excellent TAs, and then we have me. We're all ready to help you if you get stuck. We're ready to have outside of class discussions if necessary. Yes?
What are our
we don't have them yet because in the past they have not been used. So for now, they're ad hoc. Whenever you want, send an email to one of the TAs and say, I want to spend an hour talking. Better still, come with a couple of friends who also want to talk, and they will make time for you. So this is called a la carte office hours. Thank you very much.
I got a personal
Excuse me, everybody, one quick thing. Those of you who saw my email about the special independent study who are interested, stick around and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Yeah. Because I know there's at least one other person.
Oh, you're doing office hours? No, I didn't. Office hours are the same time mine are? Let's do office hours together. Like literally. Not like you'll need my office hours. I'm pretty sure your gender studies is giving you more than enough competency to do it. No.